Hi everybody, I'm Andy Wike. I'm back at it again today for another episode of All Pipes Considered, joined by Mr. Sykes Wilford.
Hey everyone.
Thanks, Sykes, for joining us today. We're going to be talking about something super special, new from Savinelli, and that is the Unica series. So, Sykes, if you could just give us, a little bit of background on this series itself, maybe how it came about, because I know that you had a sort of a personal hand in developing this one.
Yeah. So back in January, I was at the Savinelli factory, and Sonia Revolta, who's the CEO of Savinelli, and I and a couple of other people were sort of poking through some different things in the factory, and we were looking. My attention was caught by a section of their bowl inventory that didn't look like standard Savinelli shapes.
Okay.
And immediately I realized, okay, these are old, like, limited editions. I recognized them once I got closer.
Right.
And it was like Collection and Leonardo and some other things that they had done as limited edition one-offs over the last, 30 years.
Right.
40 years, however long. They had a few dozen to a few hundred of each of these, and I said, well, can we do something with this? And they're like, absolutely. All factories like to hear that. Like, can we do something
Right.
cool with something we don't know what to do with? We sort of worked through and curated a selection of these 8 shapes, and they're all pretty big, as those sorts of series typically have been. Like, this is quite a large stack, bent stack here, and this beautiful bent bulldog is pretty sizable too. So they're bigger than most Savinelli pipes, it's still classic Savinelli design language. So we decided to put together just one little series with 8 shapes that are all rusticated, and then Sonia suggested we use these, and I love this, beautiful blue stems that were originally used for the Eleganza series.
For the Eleganza, okay.
Yeah, in the spigot configuration. And so while the acrylic has been used before, it's never been used as a classic flush mount stem, except occasionally on Savinelli autographs and things like that. So presenting a whole series with this colored stem in a flush mount is pretty exciting to me, at least, because I really, really like this blue.
Oh, it's a great blue, yeah. And I think a lot of people will agree with that. I mean, the Eleganza was,
It was super popular.
Super popular.
And
I think it's really cool here, like hand-bent stems, like matching that profile, and to really see it, taking up more of that visual real estate is super cool, especially with the sort of darker burgundy, red, ruby rustication that's applied to all of these.
Yeah, the red stain with the blue stem is just really, really classy.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially with the nickel band sort of serving as a buffer in between those, and then the classic, Savinelli shield on top of
the
all
band
these
was
pipes.
also a Sonia idea.
Was it? Yeah. She's got some pretty great ideas.
Oh, yeah,
I have to say, she's kind of awesome.
really, really good with the stem colors and the pairings of colors, the matchings of colors and stuff.
That's rad. That's super cool.
I've done a lot of that over the last decade plus with her, and it's just fun watching her work because she'll pull this stuff together intuitively in a way that I have to sit and really think about it and
that's super
put stuff next to each other.
Yeah.
And she's like, that'll go with that, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, it does. So it's cool watching her work.
Yeah, it's like a whole different level. I feel like being in this industry, we often feel like we have a second, or these sort of things come second nature to us. But running a factory, you really get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Being able to make those sort of discrete decisions very quickly and they add up, I think is really a testament.
The story on this series then at this point is that these are limited by the availability of these bowls. So we're going to keep rolling with this as long as we can.
Okay.
There's different availability for different shapes.
Of course.
Some of the shapes are going to disappear. We're going to run out of bowls sooner than others.
Okay.
That's pretty much the story. We'll keep it going as long as we can. They're really cool, and it's a very reasonable price for a large Savinelli like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is super fun.
Yeah, and it's also a chance, like looking at these myself, you know, like old collections, old Leonardos, like things that you might have missed out on the first time around when they came out, like is a second opportunity for you to acquire. Like one of these shapes that just doesn't exist in the normal Savinelli catalog.
Yeah.
Like these were one-offs. And so I think being able to create a little micro collection, combine that with a really nice finish, one of what I think is the best stem colors that Savinelli's ever made. It's just a really killer series overall. Especially if you're into like larger or oversized pipes. If you're the kind of person who like trends towards like, you know, the 320 KS or like some of the other larger models in the Savinelli range, or even an autograph smoker, I feel like these are going to be really, you know, right up your alley. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
This has been fun. Thanks for asking me to do this, Andy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. You know, check out the Savinelli Unica on site now, and we'll catch you next time.